There's much literature surrounding what happened during the Battle of Normandy in 1944, but how much did the Allies actually know about their German counterparts? And what were the views of the ordinary German soldiers on that now historic battle? Well, a talk on Tuesday evening tried to find some new answers to these questions, and our reporter Nicole Ris was there.
It was a decisive moment that foreshadowed the end of World War II, and although many details about the Battle of Normandy have been revealed, a talk held at the University of Portsmouth has given some new insight into the subject by looking at intelligence sources from 1944.
This isn't a new subject in some ways, but I'm interested in trying to look at things that the Allies themselves knew in 1944 about the Germans from intelligence sources. So from deciphered signals, signals intelligence, from captured documents. Armies produce huge quantities of paperwork when they're campaigning, and a lot of this fell into the Allies' hands during 1944. I'm also interested in looking at prisoner interrogations. So 150,000 or so German prisoners were taken by the Allies in Normandy, and many of these were interrogated, either in the field or when they got back to the United Kingdom in specialist interrogation facilities. And a lot of the information that they gave hasn't really been investigated by historians. So I'm also interested in looking at monitored conversations between German prisoners who were secretly monitored by the British when they were in various interrogation facilities. And because so many of the German war diaries and other documents have been lost since 1944, this material is actually quite valuable simply for finding out what actually happened in Normandy.
Dr. Simon True has been investigating the historic battle for 25 years now. Much is known of how high-ranking German military saw the campaign as they published memoirs or reports. But whilst many of these publications tried to still glorify the battle, the bugged conversations of ordinary soldiers told a different story.
They're quite critical of some of the ways in which the Allies fight against them. They're also very critical of their own officers quite often, and their own commanders. So it's quite interesting to see German soldiers right down at the front line actually being very angry about the commanders who led them to the disaster that they experienced in Normandy. The conversations that were taking place, for example, that were being bugged, that were being then transcribed by the British, are between men who don't know that they're actually being bugged. So they're quite frank about their experiences. They're quite sort of honest about their perspectives on the Normandy campaign, whereas of course the German generals were writing with a view to how history would view their conduct, and of course had the opportunity to put themselves in the best possible light. So there's an honesty in the monitored conversations that you don't get in some of the literature that appears after the war. It certainly shows that the German morale in the summer of 1944 was pretty low. You get a sort of sense from a lot of these prisoners that, you know, that they knew that the game was up. They knew that defeat was imminent. And of course there is also the issue here about the degree to which prisoners are almost by definition likely to be defeatists. You know, were the ones who actually were determined to fight to the bitter end the ones who were killed? So, you know, is the information actually skewed in some sort of way?
Nicole Ris, for that, Solent.